Well, you mentioned education is an area that would not get cut. Let's go to the category of education. This question comes from a charter school in
your 2008 speech on race, you said that many of the social and economic disparities that exist in African American community can be, and I quote, directly traced to inequalities passed on from the earlier generation that suffered under the brutal legacy of slavery and Jim Crow.
How do you plan on addressing these social and economic disparities that currently exist in minority communities? In particular, what is your plan to close the pervasive achievement gap in education for American minorities today?
Well, the first thing that we've got to remember, and I said this at the State of the Union, is that nothing government does replaces the importance of parents in education. And so all of us, regardless of our station, our race, what region of the country we're coming from, if we're parents, we've got to step up our game in working with our kids to learn. Reading to them, turning off the TV, making sure they're doing their homework. You know, building a culture around the love of learning is critical. But our schools have a special role to play, obviously. And the single most important thing that we can do in closing the achievement gap is making sure that we've got good teachers in the classroom that are setting high expectations for our kids. You know, one of the challenges we have is a lot of times in poor neighborhoods, higher minority student populations. Oftentimes, the teachers don't have as much experience in the subject matter that they're teaching. You know, in a lot of communities, we need to provide more incentives for the best teachers to teach in the hardest to teach schools, as opposed to a lot of times their impulse, particularly if they have seniority, is to go to suburban schools or in wealthier communities where the kids are better prepared. And that's understandable, but we've got to put a special focus on making sure that those schools that really need help are getting the best possible resources. One of the things we're doing with what's called Race to the Top, the program that Secretary Duncan and myself have been promoting, is we're saying to states, you get some additional money if you've got a real good game plan for those lowest performing schools. And we don't want any child out there not having the best possible chance at succeeding. And one of the reasons it's so important to close the achievement gap is the population is going to be increasingly Hispanic, increasingly African American. Those are fast growing populations, increasingly Asian. And so if we're not doing a great job educating those kids and closing some of those achievement gaps, we're going to have problems.